Okay, earlier on this week, I did a post talking about the customer avatar. Well, I actually did a rant, particularly on LinkedIn, and I'll read this out to you here, and then we'll discuss a little bit more around it, or I'll discuss a little bit more around it. So the rant went for all those people out there saying, "Don't bother with your customer avatar, your customer persona, your ideal prospect." I say absolute bollocks to you, and I do. I'd seen loads of key comments recently regarding customer avatar and don't be obsessed with it. Don't, you don't need to do it in that much detail. And even down to one person in a one-to-one on a Zoom call saying that, they actually train on LinkedIn and don't tell people to follow their customer persona, which is absolutely shocking. It is absolute bollocks. I'd seen another one on a magazine where it said, stop obsessing about your ideal customer. No, absolutely obsess about your ideal customer. You want to know more about them than they know about themselves, because that allows you to be empathetic. It allows you to understand them. It allows you to understand their pains and frustrations that they're going to. And I'm going to expand on this. The other side of this is Seth Godin had put in, and I put this quote in saying, "The relentless pursuit of mass will make you boring. Mass means average. It leads to compromise and generalizations. Begin with the smallest viable market. What's the minimum number you would need to make it worth your while?" Seth Godin. And I'd then said, right, carve out your niche, listen to them, listen to their frustrations, be market driven and not marketing driven. Now, the reason I say this is if you are a person that is marketing as a generalist, you're just a drop in the ocean. You're just a small voice in the billion of voices that are in that ocean, and you'll just get lost. And you won't get any benefit whatsoever. And when you carve out your niche and when you fully understand your customer avatar, you can talk to them personally because you know and understand them. Now, when we look at this from a customer avatar point of view, let's say as an example, I've got a social media accelerator session, and there's two sessions in that, one that's for the beginner and one that's for the advanced. How I talk to those people are two completely different ways of working. So again, I won't message or use the same message for the basic, the start off person, the person that's just started off social media, that somebody wants the advanced, because they're at a different level. So there's no point in me being a generalist message, because it'll never cut through and it'll confuse the customer. It'll confuse my ideal prospect. The same again as me doing a social media accelerator versus a big business growth scale up program, a massive program. Two completely different services and products. So they have two completely different customer avatars. So if you're being this generalist, it's lost. So you need to tighten it down. Now, some of the things we look at here are what they feel. So, and this is a before and after. So what is the customer avatar feeling before? What's their average day look like? What's their current status? What are their frustrations? What are their fears? What are their aspirations? And we want to have a look at this from a before and after point of view of the product and service you're looking at. We can then get into psychographics. So we look at interests, influencers they follow, authors they read, publications, software they use. I've got down here associations they're in, groups they're in that they belong to, LinkedIn, Facebook, a brilliant way of socially listening as well when you get involved with those. Websites, magazines, conferences, all these things build the picture. Where do they hang out then? Like we just said, then it could be that they're hanging out on LinkedIn, could be that they're hanging out on Facebook, could be in Twitter, sort of like ours. Wherever it is, that's where you want to be. But your message has to be on point, and it has to be driven by emotional, and it has to be market driven, not marketing driven, which is what I've said earlier. And also what I put in the post. Now, from there, when you understand this customer avatar, we have the 3 M's. We've got market, message, and media. So if you understand your market, you now understand how you're going to message them. And remember, when we come around this, I've talked around the customer value journey before. We are taking people and walking people through the customer value journey. Awareness, engagement, subscribe, convert, ascend, exec, site, advocate, promote, and each one of those is a different way of messaging. And I'm going to do a presentation later on this, but that is the fundamental of it, the basics of it. Not all people follow that sort of funnel. That's the one that I use. Once we've got all that messaging right, we then know the platform, the media. What media, where are they hanging out? And we've already got this information because we've learned it back at the customer avatar point of view. So the customer avatar is very, very important, fundamental, one of the fundamental basics. And it really does knock me when people say, you don't need to know it, you don't need to do it. You need to spend time on it. And for every service and every product you have, you need to understand it. You know, you could have different products. If you're a product, creams and makeup and things like that, different products will lead to different customer avatars. There would different for age groups, different reasons, you know, that they want it for. Old age against younger generation. You know, there's a whole host of different things that can be taken into account in the customer avatar, and you need to understand that. So it's just me having a little follow-on rant from the customer avatar, and seeing what's being put out there and what people are telling them people to do against what you should actually do. You really do need to understand this customer persona, customer avatar, whatever you want to call it. Just make sure you really are fully in the knowledge of understanding of what they are going through. Pains, frustrations, aspirations, how they feel, what they'd like to feel, everything. So yeah, it's just a little bit on the customer avatar.